Those of us who can actually think critically know that she's a total commie.
Yeah.
She's a radical.
She's trying to cover right now because she's got to appeal to the middle. But everybody, she's on tape everywhere. These things don't disappear.
Right.
And that's why Megan McArdle was like, I love that the defense of Harris right now is everything she said in 2020 was a lie.
Exactly. It's like, you didn't have Sunny Hostin. Do you have that today?
I do. Yeah. So next up, so now the new thing that they're going to try to do to her is call her a moderate, because as she's shifting all these positions, they are actually trying to paint her as someone who's like super loosey-goosey. And Sunny Hostin led the charge in this montage by saying, well, look, I'm like personal BFFs with her. And she's actually like so moderate, you guys.
I know the vice president personally. She's moderate.
In this area, she's quite moderate.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
So would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. And I've, again, worked on that.
Well, that was one of the reasons she struggled with progressives, is that they felt that she was too centrist.
She was running as a centrist Democrat.
Should Black people get reparations?
Shut up, Alyssa.
I think there has to be some form of reparations, and we can discuss what that is.
She's a former prosecutor. Prosecutors are not really leftists. They put people in jail for a living, okay? They're pretty moderate.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
She hasn't been allowed to show her true self, and that is a tough-on-crime prosecutor that perhaps on certain issues is more right of center.
I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
She's not going through a litany of left-wing priorities, and I don't think that's what they expected from her.
That's where she's most comfortable, where she is right now. She was uncomfortable 4 years ago when she was trying to appease the left.
Oh, raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
She has, spent her life being tough on crime.
She was seen as a centrist. She was progressives called her Kamala.
Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong.
I cannot believe that this unqualified hag could actually be president.
It's very, very, very possible.
I mean, it's unreal to me. I just can't believe it.
It's because there's so many dumb people.
Oh my God. It's remarkable how stupid we've become in this country, that this stupid hag could actually, she's so unqualified, you guys. Oh my God. It hurts my brain.
I know. And Guy Benson tried to point out, listen, you can't run from this record.
Harris is sprinting away from those positions, but they're all on tape in her own words. And if she ever decides to give an interview to anyone, she might get asked about this and explain, well, why don't you believe these 17 things you said out loud last time you sought this office? There isn't a good answer to that question, obviously. Believe her from 2019.
Yep. She wasn't uncomfortable back in that first primary. What a bogus excuse.
Again with the rebranding. And it's only taken like 2 weeks. It's taken 2 weeks for them to do this. That should alarm everybody how effective the media is at completely brainwashing an entire populace. Like you guys, it's effective. If nothing else, they're effective, and they do it all the time. They do it every day, day in and day out. This is what they do to the masses. And people are like, yes, sir, may I have another?
Please let me be your useful idiot.
Right.
That's what everybody's doing.
Everybody's doing it. It's crazy. It's really scary.
This is why we try to remind people of what she actually believes. And so here she is back in the day, talking about having taxpayers basically fund surgeries for trans people in prisons.
I was Attorney General. I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right, a client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General, of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that transgender woman got the services she was deserving, So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
These are her policies.
Yeah. That dude that she was talking to is probably like, I think I want to identify as a 13-year-old and swim on a swim team.
Right.
Okay. And she'd be like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. You could totally do that.
Oh
yeah.
God. The greatest thing ever is this.
That's true. The preventative powder.
Yeah. The preventative powder from Coat Defense. This stuff is a miracle worker. Did you know that in addition to like sprinkling this and then rubbing it into your dog to help with their skin irritation or itchiness or odor even, you can also sprinkle this all over your dog's bedding, and it will also help prevent some of the infections that cause them to have all those skin irritations and itchiness problems and odors. You can sprinkle it right on their beds, you guys. What?
I'm sorry, Steve just said, hey, Daisy, you should get a goat. Sorry. Continue.
You can also probably use this on goats. So if you want to get a goat,
you could
have you could.
Absolutely.
And then you could also use the shampoo. They've got a line. This says dog shampoo, which is of course what I have is dogs. But you can also use their cat shampoo, their human shampoo, their horse shampoo. They've got shampoo for all the creatures. And the best part is it's totally non-toxic and it doesn't remove all the oils that are really good for your pets to have on their skin. Some of the other dog shampoos can just strip them of all that and it makes skin problems worse. So if you've been battling that, like itchiness, or if you see your dog start to chew on their feet or chew on, other parts of their body that's irritated, that is the stuff that you need to cure it. You don't need to go to the vet. Try this first before you spend a bunch of money on antifungals and all kinds of prescriptions. Just don't. Just go to coatdefense.com. Use code CHICKS. When you check out, you're going to save 15% off your entire order when you use code CHICKS at coatdefense.com. And she's lying when she's now trying to shift her position about wanting to have mandatory gun buybacks. This has always been her position until literally this week. Here's a couple of examples.
Believe in the mandatory buyback of quote unquote assault weapons, and whether or not you do, how does that idea not go against fundamentally the Second Amendment?
Yeah. Great question. I do believe that we need to do buybacks. A buyback program is a good idea. Now, we need to do it the right way.
What's
part of that has to be, buy back and give people their value, the financial value.
What would you do about the millions of specifically assault weapons that are already in circulation? What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We got to do it the right way.
What is the right way? So what so she is suggesting that we buy back our own guns that we've already paid for. That's somehow she thinks that's smart. and that's dumb as shit, first of all. But the second thing is it's antithetical to the Second Amendment, which she's, and then this is a person who's like, oh my God, I'm all about democracy. And no, you're not, because it's totally against the Constitution of the United States of America. So GTFO, lady. GTFO.
And mandatory gun buybacks and all of this banning of assault weapons or whatever. This is how democracies and republics fall.
That's how they fall. Yeah. Again, with the Venezuela, pay attention to what's happening there.
Yeah.
Because people and the thing is, people they don't know. They just don't.
Well, yeah, because what they need to pay attention to is what happened to get them there.
Right.
Because it looks a lot like what's happening here.
A whole lot like what's happening here.
And then meanwhile, we've got like the mainstream press giving this kind of publicity to Kamala. She's a cook and she knows her LA restaurants. Will it help her win?
Let's put her on the cover of Vogue 14 times. Let's do it. Oh my God. Propaganda. It is CCP propaganda is what they're engaging in. That's the level we're at. It's so gross. And if you can't see it, I can't help you with your stupidity. I can't.
Happily, you're about to see somebody with blue hair speak some sense. And I was
good.
not expecting to see someone who looks like this person does to make so much sense. But, people will continue to surprise me every single day.
If Donald Trump gets elected, it's a threat to our democracy. Right. But your Democratic government, just putting somebody in the Democratic spot to race for the presidency without y'all choosing them is not okay. And not just that, it's somebody that y'all did not want back in 2020. But now all of a sudden, y'all are just like, okay, woo! Y'all are fucking dumb. Which your government knew. And that's how they were able to do this. Knowing y'all would just go with it. That's why they cannot stand those of us that think for our damn self.
She's 150% correct.
Right? Love her. Just was not expecting that because the blue hairs often are on the other team.
Yeah. That's true.
Judge Joe Brown, not a Kamala fan.
This was beautiful. When I saw this yesterday, I had to watch it like 3 times.
I know.
I was like, you go. Go, Joe.
You guys are going to love this.
I got to ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit. I was in California. She lacked professional competence, and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. She's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants. Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly, but you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. Well, so my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe. And the problem is what is she supposed to do? One of her sycophant slaves comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, oh, yeah, I'm Julius Caesar. He said, no, ho, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway, you old woman. Get on up.
I cannot.
Or Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like, fool, what did you just say? Did you say anything?
Fool. You know what? And you know what I think? I think Obama knows it too. Obama knows it too, which is why it took him so long to come out with that endorsement. He was like, damn it. I got to endorse this hoe? Okay, I guess we got to do it.
We're asking if that was real.
Yeah, it's real.
Yes, it's 100%
real.
That was not AI. I will always warn you when it's AI. That was not it. That was real.
That's Judge Joe Brown, and he had some things to say, and they were good things. And like I said, I think that the Obamas totally agree with that. That's just my personal opinion, and that's why they didn't come out immediately and endorse her, because I don't think they probably think that she is a stupid hoe. And they're like, well, crap. Okay, well, what we have to do now, and this goes against what Joe Brown says, because, it'll only take you so far. Well, unless you got a media that is with you and that'll prop you up like the CCP and make you into something that you're not, which is precisely what they're doing.